Good morning. Welcome back. Took the day off from recording yesterday. It was mostly a day spent sitting at the computer working on some fertilizer plans and figuring out pricing and who's going to get what orders and all that kind of stuff. We had some errands to run that I was gone for a portion of the day. So anyway, we're back today. We're in the office. Today's not a whole lot busier, but we'll find something to do. We do, however, need to talk about something that happened back there on Wednesday. I mentioned it, but there was a big land auction. Let's talk about it. So back on Wednesday, before I went up to give my presentation at the Michigan Manure Conference there, I went to this auction. All of these farms sold. There's 815 acres total, about 700 of it tillable. This is all about 6 to 8 miles north of us here. And it was just interesting to see what stuff was going to sell for. So we don't farm anything up in this area except for right down here in this corner. We farm this one that's kitty corner to that one parcel that was selling. That's as close as we got to any of it. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that it would have been something we could have been interested in. We were not seriously because, well, we bought a different farm this fall, and some of this is pretty good ground. Some of these farms, especially over here along the river, these ones here, the dirt's maybe not quite as good, but still decent, although there are some major electric poles that run across these fields, and there's a lot of land improvement stuff that could be done to make them better. So mostly we were interested to see, what's it worth and how's that going to sell. That's a pretty significant auction for anything in our area, and I would assume most acres to have 800 acres all sold at one time. So everybody wants to know, what did it sell for? What did it sell for? Well, going into the auction, I was really interested to see a couple of things. One, what would it sell for? But two, who would the buyers be and how many would there be? Because there was 15 different tracks there, right? And so the way that they do those auctions is they go through and they kind of auction off every one of them individually. And then after they have a set price on all of them, then they allow people to combine multiple parcels. So if you wanted parcels 1 and 2, you would take the individual bids on both of those, combine them together, and then you could just offer $5,000 more than the total for those two, and then you would be the winner on both of them. Or you could put an offer in on all of them as long as it was more than the total of the individuals, kind of thing. And so I kind of had thought that there was a pretty good chance that one group would come in and buy it all. We have a couple of rather large dairy farms in the immediate area that are always looking for ground. The people that do the farming for them kind of always looking for ground. There's an investment group in the area that seems to be involved in stuff all the time when there's big auctions like this. And I'm sure there's a couple of other people around that would have that ability to buy all of it at one shot. So I kind of thought that might be what happens because, well, splitting stuff apart, when you get a bid, a decent bid on the whole thing, if somebody wants just one of those parcels out of there, they would have to increase that one parcel by so much to overcome the total that I didn't know if that was be feasible or not. So it did end up getting split apart, though. That is not what happened where it all went to one buyer. There was some points where one of those people or groups or somebody tried to combine everything, and they pretty quickly got broken back up because other people started increasing their bids on either the individual pieces or on smaller multi-parcel chunks there, or multiple tracks. They would bid on 3 of them instead of the 15 or whatever. So average across it on all of that ground, it sold for a little over $7,800 an acre, which, depending on where you're from, is either shockingly high or shockingly low or just about right. And for our area, I think it's just about right. I really went into that thinking it's going to average somewhere between $7,500 and $8,000 an acre, and that's exactly where it ended up. I'm a little surprised it got split up. I think there was 8 or 9 separate buyers versus going to one, or the majority to one, and then 1 or 2 parcels getting split off, kind of thing. So that did surprise me some, but pretty much what I expected out of that auction. One or two of the parcels sold really high, over 9,000 an acre, or almost 9,500 an acre. Three of them went to one buyer. That some of the stuff that was the off to the side, it wasn't quite as good at ground with the electric poles running across it, was a little under 7,000 an acre. So yeah, there was some variation to it depending on where the piece was at, or the quality and all that kind of stuff, how much of it was tillable versus some wooded ground and stuff. But yeah, overall, it is what it is. It's what we expected. It makes me feel pretty good about the piece that we bought this fall, because for the most part, I feel like it lays better, has as good, if not a little bit better, soil types. Does need tile, but we paid a little bit less than the average on this one. So we're right in the right ballpark. I think that's the market right now for our area. And I know they don't make any more farm ground, and you should just buy it when you can buy it, right? But that auction was almost $6.4 million, and interest rates are high, and you just can't. The ground does not cash flow. Won't cash flow probably ever again, unless things go really south really fast. But you can't. You can only do so much. You can't do it all, and it wasn't a feasible option for us to go up there and buy any significant portion of it. Maybe one or two chunks, but we really weren't in that market or interested in it for our operation right now. They are also having the equipment auction. I'll throw a plug in for them, even though not my deal. But this guy that was farming here, he was one of my seed customers. Farmed just for 1 year. And he had inherited a bunch of this ground, had a trucking business that he sold out of a few years ago, decided to start farming, jumped into it whole hog, had some really nice equipment. Ended up getting cancer this fall and passed away shortly thereafter. And so pretty sad deal, no good at all. But it is what it is now. And so they're having the equipment auction on March 9th. And I'll be interested to see what some of this stuff goes for. There's some of it that would be sort of nice to have. A real nice grain trailer there. A couple of nice tractors, planters. He had some really nice planters. Some miscellaneous stuff. Does that look familiar to anybody? It's our old scraper. He bought our old scraper from us. So we'll find out if we were right price on that one, or we undercharged him or overcharged him. And then he does have this absolutely beautiful shop up there it was located right here. At one of these, where they took this corner out of this one parcel where the shop is located. It was 80 by 142. Is that what it said? Yeah, 80 by 142 overall. Got office space in there, wash bay, full pit. It's a beautiful shop. It would make a heck of a building for somebody. It's just not in a great location where it's gonna, it's not on a main road. It's kind of off the beaten path, and it was a great location for this farm. It's not for much else. So we'll see. So today's project, what are we actually going to do today? Well, one thing we need to do is source some bolts for the cutting edge on this backhoe bucket, because it broke. I've shown that before, but we're going to take it off. Dad's going to attempt to weld it together. I don't know if that's going to work or not. It's cracked in more spots, but it's already broken. He has very little to lose by trying to weld it together. So we're going to let him. But we need some new bolts, because these ones are, well, there's a good chance they're going to break when we take them out, or we're going to have to cut them off. And even if that's not the case and they do come out, we're still going to put new ones in. So I have to find a source for those. We're going to work on that. And then I think we'll do a little bit of work on this. Maybe we'll attempt here to clean up this hydraulic lifter, cultivator lifter thing, the little power washing on it, and take these bolts out the end, pull that apart, see if there's oil in there, put new oil in there, do what we got to do, see if we can't get it where we can mount it back up on there so that we can move this off to the side. Got on John Deere Parts website. This doesn't look exactly like what we have. That seems to be a two-piece deal there. Not sure why, but this one looks right, but it doesn't have any bolts. And then there's this two-piece one, and it does show the bolt, but it's, yeah, so I'm not real sure. I need to go out and measure the bucket, figure out how long that is. number 2 here, bucket cutting edge. It says it's 86 inches long, basically. It's only 194 bucks. That's a lot cheaper than I thought it might be. We might have to just buy one. That one shows lots of bolts. Are those the same part number as the other ones? 1759. Yep, they are. So I imagine that's the right bolt. Lots of different options, apparently. But I think I can get that from our deer dealer. That's the clam bucket, not what we have. So most of those are all the same part number. It appears that you can put on just the one, or you can add the auxiliary cutting edge and have kind of a double edge that's reversible. Ours sort of looks like it has 2, but maybe the one's a weld-in. Oh, maybe that's what it is. Yeah, that's what we have. I see. So there's this top one. That's the one part number that I was looking at. That one's the one that's 194 bucks. And it looks to be a weld-in deal. And then the bottom one bolts underneath it, and it is reversible. It's got another edge back here when you wear it out. Got it. So I was looking at the wrong one, but that's okay. Let's see. What do we got here? 7 foot. 86, right? It was 85.9 something. It's 86 inches. All right. How many bolts are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. That's what I needed to know. So it would be this one. Number 2 is the weld-in piece that the holes, that the bottom one bolts to. That makes more sense now that I look at the picture. Okay, so the bottom one is what we would need. Number 3, auxiliary cutting edge. It is $250. Yeah, it's not horrible, but whatever. 85.8984 inches. All right. Well, we need the 4 bolts for now. Okay, we got those ordered. It's a good deal. It's after 11. I need to go to the bank today because I didn't make it there yesterday like I was supposed to. Should I go do that now and get lunch, or should I start working on this tractor some more? Decisions. Let's do a little cleaning before we go to lunch, and then this thing can dry while we're gone. So, well, yeah. See if we can melt some old grease off. Is that better? I think it's better. The top wasn't too bad from when I washed it on the tractor, but the bottom is a lot better now. So we'll let that dry off. Won't take long. When we get back, we'll pull some bolts out. See what we got. Okay, I cleaned off our welding table here. We're going to use this to take this thing apart so that I can work on a surface that's a little bit sturdier than the cart that I had this sitting on. But I don't have to worry about getting oil everywhere in case there's oil in it, like a regular bench. So, I don't really know where to start, but we're gonna take these bolts apart. I did, you know what? Hold on. I got my book. This is the shop manual for this F12 and several other tractors. I was wondering if there was anything about this deal in here, and well, there's a little bit. They call it a power lift. And it says right here that the service information for the components of the power lift system, which are shown on this page, is not available. The sectional views, however, should aid in disassembly and reassembly of the unit. So we can see what it's supposed to look like, but they don't tell us anything about how to do anything. Unlike the rest of this book that is quite detailed in how everything works and what you should do. So, but we've at least got a picture here to see what it's supposed to look like. We're just going to take it apart. We're just going to set this somewhere where it's not going to get dirty, and we're going to take it apart. I also bought the actual operator's manual and a parts manual. I kind of got swindled on that deal a little bit because I bought them for a price, seeing the picture of the actual book and the manual, thinking they were going to send me one, and then they sent me a link to download it, and I was like, oh, you got to be kidding. Doesn't say anywhere on there that it's a digital download until after you buy it, and I was a little irritated by that. But I do have it. It's on a computer. I could print it if I want to. I thought maybe we should take this plug out here, and so I tried to turn it with the wrench, and it was very loose. It was not in there very tight. Is that oil or water? I've been rolling it all over, so there's liquid in there. All right, well, let's try and drain it before we take this apart and make a mess. Let me get an oil pan. Ugh. Try not to make it all messy. There's not much liquid in there. I don't see any coming out. Huh. I did put some plugs in these ports where the oil goes, so I didn't get too much water in there from that, but all right, well, maybe I'm wrong. I thought I could see some liquid in there. None of these bolts were super tight. Okay, so they go all the way through this piece into this. These ones are oily. Interesting. Do we have multiple compartments? I'm not sure. They do have a fancy little hole engineered into this mounting bracket for this bolt to come through. I was like, how did they get that bolt in there? But there's holes in the end of that. Just like that. Okay, got two more. All right, well, the bolts are out. We might need a hammer. Tap some stuff apart here. See what happens. Okay, well, there was a little bit of oil. That looks pretty gunky. The rest of it's not terrible. I'm not sure how this is supposed to work. This piece will slide right off the end here, though. I'm just hoping there's nothing in there that's gonna fall apart. I don't see anything. Okay, now that we've got this apart, I'm starting to understand how it works. I've cleaned up this end cap here. We've got a couple of seals in here. Those should probably get replaced if I could find them. Also needs cleaned out inside there a little bit, but essentially that's to keep the shaft straight and to seal it. And this got used. It's got some wear on this shaft here. Like this was a good buy on this option because it got used. But essentially we've got a big paddle here, and oil gets pumped in one side or the other, and it pushes it around and makes it rotate. And I don't know if I can do it by hand. There, a little bit, kind of like that. So it just goes that way or it goes the other way. That's 1930s hydraulics for you right there. So I'm going to pull that out of there so that we can clean everything up as best possible. And we'll see what we can find. Okay, well, we got it out. We made a slight mistake. When I pulled that out, there was, well, this piece that's still here. This is kind of like the wiper or the seal or whatever you want to call it that goes in the end of that thing. And if you look in there, you'll see there's some holes. No, you won't because you can't see. Let me turn the light on. Now you might. See those holes in there? Yeah, those holes, there was some springy thingies in there. And when I pulled them out, they spring-a-thunging out and went flying over there. That's not good. I found two of them. I found two of the three. So I don't know where the other one went. I can't find it. I've looked. One of them was right there on that little oil spot. One of them was right there on that little oil spot. And I don't know where the other one is. Crap. So Brock might spend 4 hours looking for a spring on Monday. No, I don't know. Hopefully we can find one. But essentially those are there to push this out of that channel on the end so that it will ride smoothly on that outside and seal the oil from rushing past it. So, okay, now we got some cleaning to do. Good news! I found it! One of the spring-a-thingies didn't spring-a-thung. We got all three. Excellent. You're off the hook, Brock. Okay, I'm going to attempt to separate this so that I can clean that backside better. Got it. Okay. Now we can do some cleaning, and then we're going to disassemble that a little bit farther, I think. One thing to note, there is no gaskets, there's no sealants, there is no nothing other than the fact that it is a smooth machined surface that joins all of this stuff together. Like that's it. There's nothing. So we just got to get them cleaned up good and smash them back together, and it should seal. Okay, so I've been cleaning some stuff up. I got this piece, the center spacer piece, whatever you call it. That cleaned up pretty well. I think that's in really good shape. Cleaned up the rotator shaft here a little bit. There's definitely some rust spots and some wear on this. You can tell there was more water inside of this piece than there was in any of the transmission stuff. Like this whole channel here was full of that rusty, gooey water stuff. And it's kind of rusted the sides of this shaft a little bit. The bottom side of this that was setting in it, it was a little rusted up, and I've got it cleaned up pretty well. I think everything will work fine. Chances are this is never even going to get used, so it's not that critical, but I would like it to go back together and work and not leak, so I'm going to do the best I can. Well, we're doing all right. I've got everything cleaned up pretty well. Oh, there we got some stuff running out the holes. I want to take this apart and see what we've got in there and what it looks like. This is the oil reservoir side of it, hence the fill plug there. There's not really a drain. I don't know that you're ever really supposed to change this oil, or maybe it comes out through through these holes here when you take that. I don't really know. I don't know. The parts breakdown book there that I have is somewhat helpful, but not entirely, and a little difficult to understand and read. When you start looking at these a little closer, these are all different versions of it. We have this one, and it does tell you what everything is once you figure it out and kind of understand it. So, yeah, I don't know. It's easier for me to understand it once I take it apart, and then I look at the book and I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. This thing, let me tell you, the brilliance and simplicity behind this design is just amazing. This thing is awesome. I have figured out how it works. Let me show you. Okay, so we have some components over there yet, but basically we have an arm that goes through here, and then there's a chamber and a paddle on it that can swing around back and forth, right? We have two holes right here and here that are for the oil. Oil gets pushed in this hole, and it pushes that lever around over to here. Oil gets pushed in this hole, and it pushes it back the other way, right? Simple, okay? On the front side of this, where our little control arm goes is, we have four holes. Four holes, okay? The bottom one is connected to over here. It's connected to the top one. This one, right here, okay? That one is our pressurized oil coming from the gear pump. The little gear pump that runs down on the side over here, right here, off the engine, or off the belt pulley shaft there. Yeah, so that one's pressurizing the oil. That pressurized oil is coming up through there, and it's coming out this hole, right here, this one, okay? This hole is connected to the oil reservoir, basically this big area here with this plug that I have taken out, okay? And then we've got this hole over here. It's connected to one of these two. Which one is it? This one. It's connected to this one. So we've got this hole right here, okay? And then this other one over here on the other side is connected to this hole, right? Okay, so we've got four holes. They go four different places. Now, this one over here, the big one on the bottom, it is connected to the reservoir. That's the return line, goes back to the pump. So when oil is in here, it's drawing it through this hole, pressurizing it, pumping it back up through here, which comes out right here. So then, look at our little control arm over here. This little control arm goes up and down, right? Look at the inside of this. It's got two little half moon pieces on it. And this is brilliant. It's a flat surface. There's a big spring that sits in behind there, and it pushes it tight up against there. Got a label on it, it says top, okay? So now what happens is it connects essentially two of those holes together. So we can put it in this position, right? And then we're connecting this hole and this hole, this hole and this hole. So what are we doing when we do that? Well, we're taking pressurized oil from here and we're pushing it into this one, which is pushing it out this hole, which is making that paddle go all the way around over to the other side, The oil is then getting pushed out of what was on this side back into here, which is coming out this hole and now going back into our reservoir so that it can draw it into the pump. And then once it gets all the way down, there's a bypass on that pump that opens up and allows it to just sit there and run and not actually pump any oil. And it just keeps it pressurized and keeps this pushed all the way to this direction. Okay? Well, then when we rotate this, so we're like this, and we go like that. Now we're connecting this hole and this hole, this one and this one. So the pressurized oil is coming in here, it's going in this hole. On the other side of that paddle, pushing it back the other way. All the oil that was already over there, going back through there, out to this one, back into our reservoir. Goes the other way. It's genius. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I think that is fascinating. And it gets even better than this, right? Okay, so I was looking at this handle. Put it back to where it was. And it goes like this, right? It goes all the way, one way or the other. And then I got to look and I said, well, what is this little screw here for? And something didn't look right with this little notch right here. So then it does this, look. It turns. And do you know what that screw is? That screw is a stop. You can adjust it in and out so that it hits there. What does that do? Well, it limits how far this thing turns. And so it'll only open it to like half of one of those holes or even less, which would control the speed at which the cultivator drops or how fast that arm turns so that you're not just boom instantly in the ground. And it's brilliant. It's brilliant. That is the electronic hydraulic speed control of today on 80-year-old technology. 85-year-old that's brilliant. I think this thing is so cool. So anyway, I need to do some research, see if we can find seals. Well, I've got pretty much everything cleaned up like I want to. The only thing that I don't have is new seals for in here. And there is a grease zerk on here, which they did not do dust seals on grease back then. So there's no real way to keep the dust out of in there. But there is some old grease in the center that I would like to clean out of there as best as possible. So I'm gonna go do some research, look in my parts book that I have on my computer, and we're gonna see if I can find the new seals for in both ends of this. And if I can, we're gonna order them. If I can't, yeah, we're probably gonna put this back together and see what happens. Brilliant. Oh boy. Well, I did not have much luck locating the seals. It's helpful that I have a part number. It's less helpful that well, the brand is basically defunct for however many years, and they just don't exactly still use the parts numbers that are 80 years old. So I get it. I totally understand it. However, if it was a John Deere, I'd be able to find it. I'm quite confident. They might not have the part, but I would be able to find it. Anyway, so I have I've made a post in an antique tractor forum to see if anybody can help me out there. Problem is this power lift deal. It seems to be rather rare, not totally unheard of. There's other people that have them, but I don't think they were super common on these tractors, and they're definitely not something that has great breakdown and instructions and stuff in the books and everything else. None of the antique tractor parts people seem to have any information about it at all, and so I don't know. So I'm debating whether I try and pull one of those seals out, take it to an auto parts store or equipment dealer and try and just match the seal up physically. If I do that, I'm probably going to wreck it. And I don't know that they leak. I don't know that they're bad. But there's a pretty good chance they're going to leak. And so I'm just kind of debating. So I'm going to see if we get any replies here over the weekend on that. And we'll go from there. But it is a little after 4:30. I've got to get out of here. Today happens to be my wife's birthday. So happy birthday, honey. Love you. And I'm going to go take her out to dinner tonight. So everybody wish my wife, Maddie, a happy birthday down in the comments. I would appreciate that. And we're going to go have some fun, enjoy the evening, and then we'll be back here on Monday. Monday is going to be a busy day. I have 4 full seed trucks coming on Monday. So we're probably going to spend the day working down there in the seed warehouse. I'll work on my insulation and stuff while waiting on trucks and unload trucks while we're there, and we'll see how it goes. I think Brock's coming in the afternoon, so he might help me down there a little bit too. And we'll see where we're at with this project as well. All right, so thanks for watching this week. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Oh, make sure you head on over to farmfocused.com this week. They are running some Valentine's Day specials. I don't remember the code off the top of my head. Love Ag, maybe? Love Ag. It's probably on their website. You can check any of the social medias and you'll find it there. But 15% discount over at Farm Focused, and that is a significant discount. So if you need some Border View Farms apparel, any other brands apparel, go check out their stuff and grab that over there while there's good deals going on. What else? What else? Subscribe to the channel. Have a great weekend. I will see you guys on Monday. Thanks for watching.